Welcome to Gaming Grains, the whiskey gaming channel. I'm your player one, Richard. And man, am I excited about this video. As you saw in the thumbnail, today I'm going to be looking at Buffalo Trace Single Oak Project Barrel number 74. I've heard about this lineup, but never thought I would get to try any. So the fact that I even have this sample has me beyond ecstatic. So, grab your controllers, pour yourself a dram, and let's get into it. First and foremost, I'd like to say a huge thank you to the guys over at Chilled Filtered Podcast. Several weeks ago, they did a questionnaire on Instagram and then did a random giveaway, and I was selected as one of the winners. So, thank you, Brian and Cole over at Chilled Filtered Podcast. If you haven't checked them out, it's definitely worth listening to. I'll be sure to leave a link down below on how you can find the podcast, along with some of their socials. Now, if you've never heard of the Single Oak project from Buffalo Trace, it's actually a really cool concept. Now, I can sit here and try to explain it to you, but I feel like reading it, just the brief description from the website, will help give you a better understanding. So it says this is the most comprehensive bourbon experience ever undertaken. It all started with 96 individually selected American oak trees that differed according to the number of growth rings per inch in growing location. Each tree was cut into two parts, top and bottom, yielding 192 unique tree sections. A single barrel was constructed from each unique section. So that means out of those sections, they were making a top part and a bottom part barrel. Prior to the construction, they varied the stave's seasoning times. The 192 barrels were then charred differently. These single oak barrels were then filled with different recipe whiskeys at various entry points and aged in a variety of different warehouse styles. We believe that this experiment will allow you to directly compare the impact of 7 different critical variables across 192 bottles for a total of 1,396 taste combinations. None of the 192 bottles in the complete set are exactly alike. And this website, and I'll share a link to it down below, lists every barrel, the recipe style, the entry level proof, months that the staves were seasoned, grain size, warehouse type, barrel char level, tree cut, so either the top half or bottom half, and the number of rings in each section. This is rings per inch. So yeah, rings in each section. If you know anything about science, obviously the rings change size based on the amount of rain that the tree gets per year. So it's really interesting they even came up with this whole concept. And then on this website, like I said, it goes through and lists all 100 or so different bottles. So I was fortunate enough to get barrel number 74. So according to this website, barrel number 74 is a rye. Its entry level proof was 125. It was the staves were seasoned for 12 months. The grain size is labeled as average. Rickhouse K, char number 3, was the bottom half, and then has 11 rings. So I don't have anything really to compare this with other than just what is in this bottle. Now, it's a 1 ounce sample, so I'm not going to do all of it, but we will maybe do half a pour. I like to go back and enjoy these later on. Also, they're great conversation starters and good for sharing with friends. So, let's go ahead and get in on the nose. So it definitely smells like a rye, but it is very light in its profile. It's almost like a berry note there. Some sort of sweetness. I don't know that it's caramel. Maybe like a light honey. There's definitely just different layers to this. Normally when I smell a rye, it seems to be a little potent as far as like either the rye spice or the herbal or flower smell to it. This one's not too aggressive or too offensive. This just smells light, like honeysuckle. This is really refreshing. All right, so let's get in on the taste. Cheers. What? This is so sweet. It reminds me of as a child at our school, we used to have honeysuckles that would grow along somebody's fence, and we would always go out and pick the honeysuckles, and you would just eat suck the nectar off of the flower or what have you. There is honeysuckle that is there. There's some sort of berry or fruit component to it. It's sweet. Like when I think of a rye, I think of mintiness and like eucalyptus and just those different herbs and spices. This is not at all what I would think of when I have a rye. Or if it is, it leans more towards like a flower than what I would sometimes say is like more of a piney or something along those lines. This is absolutely just a lovely. And then now that I'm going back to the nose, there's like a light fruit nose to it. Light, like almost like there's a lot going on with this. This is just outstanding. Honeysuckle, a fruit. I still can't nail it down because I feel like every time I'm like going through this, there's just a different fruit that is there. Floral, just refreshing. And this would be dangerous. If I had a bottle for myself, this would be something that would probably be gone through very quickly. On the finish, as I'm sitting here talking, normally I've had whiskeys that just lay heavy on the tongue. Sometimes that they're drying, especially rye. Sometimes I find to be a bit drying. This is just, it hasn't set on the tongue. It doesn't dry out the tongue. This is phenomenal. I know that it feels like I'm just sitting here ranting, but like this is truly a unique pour. Something that I don't think that I've ever come close to trying in any other whiskey. Definitely not something that if you were to tell me this is Buffalo Trace, that I would believe you. Just phenomenal. This isn't really a review where like I'm telling you whether or not like you need to go find these. But if you can find a single oak project whiskey, grab it. Because if it's anything like this, you don't want to miss out. This is great. So again, Brian and Cole, thank you so much for sharing this with me. Chilled Filtered Podcast. If you have any extra that's maybe laying around, just taking up space that you just want to get rid of, send it my way. I won't be hurt or upset. I have plenty of room that I can definitely keep those bottles in. So, single oak project. If you can find one, grab one. All right. Thank you for watching until the end. If you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. That way you can see great content like you did today. Down in the comments below, have you ever tried a Buffalo Trace single oak project bottle? If so, what number is it? What was your take? How did it compare to this one? This one, like I said, lots of honeysuckle. There's definitely a fruit note to it. Just very light and refreshing. Would have never thought it was a rye, and sure as heck not thought it was from Buffalo Trace. And then if you would, please make sure that you hit that like button. That really just helps kind of spread the word about the channel. All right, guys, I certainly appreciate you sticking until the end. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.